Hey everyone, Michael here, and today I want to talk about solo leveling. Solo leveling has been nothing short of a revelation. It's not only taken the anime world by storm, but might have transcended the anime world and became a pop culture phenomenon. Not only is it number 2 in terms of the Crunchyroll rankings, it also did it as a Korean manhwa, which would have been unheard of 10 years ago. It's good to see because I remember how much hype Solo Leveling got as a manhwa when it was announced that it was going to be adapted for anime. And sometimes the hype doesn't live up to the billing when it comes to these things. See God of High School, for example. But this one definitely did. Also, let me just say that Solo Leveling figured out a way to get the female audience as well, without being explicitly a shoujo-like anime. Who knew it was as simple as put a guy who would appeal to the female gaze on screen? Oh wait, that was me. I'm the one who said that. Hey, what can I say? It's hard to be humble sometimes. In all seriousness, it's really interesting because anecdotally, my girlfriend, who doesn't even watch anime like that, and if she does, will only really watch the shoujos, has made 2 shonen animes appointment viewing: My Hero Academia and Solo Leveling. I have friends who say their non-anime fans' moms watch Solo Leveling. Their moms. Think about that for a second. So, all that to say that Solo Leveling is really popular right now. Wonderful. That said, Solo Leveling's Jeju Island arc finally went on screen, and to say we didn't know something unusual is an understatement. I wouldn't say it's a carbon copy of the Chimera Ants arc from Hunter x Hunter, but it had me definitely feeling like someone copied the homework a little bit and changed the words to their own writing. Here's the thing though, I was gonna let it rock until Jacob Weeby put out a little short reel / TikTok and really pointed out how similar Solo Leveling is to Hunter x Hunter in general.
Hey, bro, can I copy your homework?
Sure, but don't make it obvious.
All right, bet. Now, the powerful beings in your verse are called hunters. Do you mind if I take that term too?
Yeah, that's okay.
Awesome, and your verse also has something called the Hunter Association, where hunters are regulated by the government. I really like that idea too.
I guess you can take that idea as well.
Cool, and I love the idea of aura.
Bro, I told you not to make it obvious.
So let's talk about it. Is Solo Leveling copying Hunter x Hunter? And right away, I'm not gonna waste anyone's time. My answer is kinda. Now, I wanna be clear. Everything takes inspiration from something. For example, it's clear that Wisteria Wand and Sword took inspiration from Black Clover. And if we go down the line, Black Clover clearly took inspiration from Fairy Tail and Naruto. And on that front, it's clear that the big 3 alumni of Naruto and One Piece took inspiration from Dragon Ball, or the Dragon Ball franchise rather. And if we're really speaking about the big 3, Bleach definitely took inspiration from Yu Yu Hakusho. Remember that one. And you know what? On that note, the Dragon Ball franchise definitely took inspiration from Journey to the West because, obviously, and if you look close enough, you can actually see the late great Akira Toriyama take inspirations from Star Wars and the Chinese film Zoo Warriors from Magic Mountain when it came to Dragon Ball as well. My point is, everything is inspired by something, and there's nothing really wrong with that. However, there is a fine line between inspiration and imitation. Here's the thing though, when it comes to knowing when the line is crossed, as the saying goes, it's hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Most times there are clear examples of inspiration being a thing from one anime to another, and sometimes there's a clear example of imitation from one anime to another. And then you get examples like Hunter x Hunter to Solo Leveling, where it's not as clear there is imitation, but consider the following. Solo Leveling is about a bunch of superpowered human beings who are called hunters. These hunters are regulated by a government body, an association if you will, and in one arc of Solo Leveling there is a storyline where the hunters have to go to an island, and on this island there are ants who have evolved to rival humans, and with that comes an ant king who's extremely powerful, who seems to have an obsession with proving that he is the superior being. So in search of that, he seeks the king of the humans to battle one-on-one. That is Hunter x Hunter to a shocking level of similarity, except the difference is that Hunter x Hunter approaches the topics they speak about with a lot more tact, nuance, subtlety, and in my opinion, it's just generally a more outspoken and smarter anime, while breaking a lot of the conventional unwritten rules that shonen had at the time. Remember that point because we'll get to that. The argument that Solo Leveling copied Hunter x Hunter isn't wrong in that respect, but on the other hand, Solo Leveling is its own different anime. The premise of Hunters is that monsters showed up out of nowhere, and what came with that is humans all of a sudden developing powers they couldn't train up, unlike let's say Nen, which once received can be trained. Hunter x Hunter's main character Gon's motivation is to find their dad and have an adventure. In fact, the point of the Chimera Ants arc is that Gon can't keep acting like a kid. Whereas in Solo Leveling, Jin-Woo's main motivation is to save their mom. In fact, the whole point of the Jeju Island arc is that sometimes Jin-Woo has to make sacrifices. The hook of Hunter x Hunter is that it approaches questions that you would see in the social political realm from an explicitly Japanese lens. Whereas the hook in Solo Leveling is that it combines the aspects of gaming with anime, as Jin-Woo can actually train his skills where others can't, giving it this kind of RPG video game effect to this anime, where a player can grow their skills whereas others can't. And because of that, the audience can see a clear sense of progression that mimics a lot of their favorite video games. And speaking on this, the Jeju Island arc to Chimera Ants arc also have significant differences to each other. The main takeaway of the Chimera Ants arc in Hunter x Hunter is Togashi asking the question of what makes life sacred, and also what gives humans the right to dominate and basically consume other beings. Whereas in Solo Leveling, the story is basically just humans want to be able to go on Jeju Island again. The two have different goals, different motivations, different starting points, and different approaches to their story. And yes, in both stories, both ant queens are birthing an ant king, but in the Chimera Ants arc, this was because the queen ant was on the brink of death and needed to do so in order to keep the ant colony going. Solo Leveling and Hunter x Hunter are more different in very important ways than they are similar. Basically, what Solo Leveling is to me is, what if we took certain aspects of Hunter x Hunter but modernized them for today's society? And then it also still has its own story and is a little more blatant with the wish fulfillment power fantasy aspect. And by the way, a lot of anime are doing that nowadays. That's the basis for my argument against isekai. So in my opinion, while it does definitely straddle and sometimes tip their toe on the other side of the line between inspiration and imitation, it is enough of its own thing that you can enjoy it without feeling guilty. However, I don't think that's why people are actually mad. Because if it was about copying anime, all the anime I mentioned earlier would have been canceled immediately. Even Dragon Ball, which is very, very similar to Journey to the West in a lot of ways, didn't get that backlash because it was its own story at the end of the day. So I don't think this is about copying an anime so much as it's about the legacy of an anime being forgotten. Think about it like this. Hunter x Hunter's creator Yoshihiro Togashi is considered one of the most underrated mangakas to ever live. However, he's not known in the mainstream. None of his mangas turned anime have really gotten that mainstream transcendence popularity in the Western Hemisphere among the general population, like let's say Dragon Ball Z or Gundam did. He's considered more of a counterculture pick for people in the know, but was never worldwide famous like some people think he should be. And what did he get for his years of blood, sweat, and tears? Nowadays, he suffers from so many health issues that he's not able to consistently work on the aforementioned Hunter x Hunter. So imagine being a Hunter x Hunter fan or a Yu Yu Hakusho fan and seeing what has become of Togashi, and then you hear there's a rookie writer from Korea who threw something up on Webtoons. Webtoons! And all of a sudden, this rookie writer is getting fame and fortune off of what you perceive is the back of anime writers in the past. Specifically, in this case, Yoshihiro Togashi. I say this with no pun intended because for those who don't know, the reason why Yoshihiro Togashi can't put pen to paper to work on Hunter x Hunter consistently is because his back and hips are in such pain that at one point he couldn't even sit in a chair to work and now has to draw laying down. In other words, for lack of a better way to phrase it, a lot of people feel like Solo Leveling is an example of anime cultural appropriation and exploitation in a way. Now, do I think the manhwa creator Chugong is exploiting the work of Yoshihiro Togashi? Absolutely not. That's crazy talk. Yoshihiro Togashi is a millionaire due to his work with Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho. And more importantly, although he doesn't get mainstream recognition, people in the anime community and outside the anime community who are in the know recognize how great he was in his prime. So he does get credit, a lot of credit. Also, let me just add that I think Solo Leveling creator Chugong is working extremely hard and is extremely smart in the way he wrote his story. But I think it's the perception that as a result of Togashi's hard work and sacrifices, somebody who is perceived as not working as hard and their flagship arc that everyone tells us is good takes a lot of aspects from the Hunter x Hunter Chimera Ants arc, yet doesn't necessarily have the same level of intellect that Chimera Ants arc has, as it stripped away all its social messaging or farmed the main characters at play in the story and called it a day. And I can sympathize with that sentiment. Now again, I want to stress that isn't what I think is happening. I think what actually happened is that someone took inspiration from Togashi, but wasn't exactly sure where the line between inspiration and imitation was. And through making an honest attempt at their own work, because they are a rookie writer, they didn't know how to put in subtle nods of acknowledgement of their inspiration. And as a result, their work did some things that seem not kosher. Do they need a little 1-2 course correction for next time? Absolutely. Do they need to be dragged on the internet and canceled though? No. That said, if I may, on a semi-unrelated note, I understand the sentiment that these people have about feeling like their favorite mangaka has been exploited and another person is getting more fame and recognition from the general population as a result of it. Here's the thing though, I have a sneaking suspicion that these people who are all mad about Hunter x Hunter being exploited due to Solo Leveling similarities towards it are also the same people that when certain communities talk about cultural appropriation will dismiss it without giving it some thought. Maybe I'm overgeneralizing, but that's my sneaking suspicion. So what I would say to these people who are feeling this way is remember that feeling the next time someone in a certain community talks about cultural appropriation. There, I said it. I know, boo me. Not necessarily saying that every instance of someone talking about cultural appropriation on the internet is correct, because of course not, don't be silly. But I'm just saying that the next time something like this pops up, yet it's about something like, I don't know, braids, open your ears and consider the argument before responding. I know. Empathy in 2025. How dare I? But I digress. Okay, I think this is a good time to call the video before I start going on these long ass tangents about something that doesn't have to do with this instance of anime imitation. So yeah, thanks for watching everybody. You have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and later.